Follow Paddy Power on Snapchat. The username is the Paddy Power, and we promise there won't be any boring snaps about gigs, the weather, or the gym.
Hi there, it's one of the greatest weekends of racing there's ever been. That's next weekend. This weekend, not so much. Welcome along to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington, and in the company of James Hill and Paul Keeley from the Racing Post, plus Paddy Power's Rob Catson, we are going to make sure that you are fully armed for a day's racing that is unusual in terms of quality, but the good news is that if you back a 4-1 winner here, or Aintree, or Royal Ascot, you still get paid out the same. So, the boys have been studying hard. Here's what we've got. We've got Kelso on ITV4, Ed Chamberlain and the gang are heading up to the border country to bring us 4 races there. We've got 3 races at Kempton, all very competitive, some really good betting heats, even if the quality is not quite as we would expect. And then the boys will give us all their best bets from elsewhere, and we will even tap them up for a Grand National winner next week, plus, of course, competition. OK then, chaps, we will start with Kelso. It's the 150. It's the first of the 7 ITV4 races. It's the Sue and Harvey Smith Chase. And Rob, how do Paddy Power bet on this one?
Yeah, just a 4 been declared, Bruce. So we are 2-1 Teddy T and Just Georgia. We're 130 Hills of Dubai, and the outsider is AC/DC at 9-2.
OK, Keels, this is very much hardcore punting fare. It's not really purist stuff, is it? First of all, do you like the look of these TV races? And have you got some decent stuff for us elsewhere as well?
I can't say I've got decent stuff elsewhere, and I can't say I've got decent stuff in the first race because I don't really do 4-runner races, but I mean, that's what we've got. But the others, yes, I actually fancy quite a few. So
excellent, good.
We'll have a go. But in this race, I think Teddy T is probably the one to beat. He seems to be running a better race every time he runs. Second last time at Ayr to present it on heavy ground, so there's conditions are no problem to him. But you know, this isn't the sort of race that interests me betting at 2-1.
OK, James, does it interest you?
Well, Teddy T could be a bet. I agree. I think he's consistent. He's on the same mark as when second at Ayr last time, and he seems to be going in the right direction. Just a bit one pace. That's the only problem. But you know, he doesn't have that many horses to beat, so it's a good opportunity for him.
How many paces do other horses have? I've never really got that.
2 pace, 1 pace, and if they're really bad, no pace at all.
Yeah, I back some horses that aren't 1 pace. Their other pace is extremely slow. So Teddy T gets 2 votes. Does he get 3, Rob?
He probably should, but he won't. I've got to take a stab in the dark here with probably the outsider, the 4 AC/DC. Only Kelso winner in the lineup. He's generally pretty consistent. He'll have an awful lot in his favour. Liam Quinlan's only ridden him the once, and he actually won on him back in January. So, you know what we say about the outsider of 4. I just took a stab at AC/DC, the only course winner.
Good man, the 225's the Tote Scoop 6 Handicap Hurdle. And Rob, fairly competitive this one?
Yeah, much more competitive. So we're 130. Tax me if you can. Nietzsche is a 6-1 chance. 7's Card Game. 8's Gas and Golf, and Reverend Cust, and we're 10's Bar.
And Rob, we'll stick with you. Who wins?
Yeah, I was initially going to go for Silver Concord in the entries, but Keith Dalglish has only declared Tax Me If You Can. He's 2 from 2 in his completed starts over hurdles. He's proven himself on ground like this in the flat as well. He's a course and distance winner, 1 of 2 course and distance winner. I just thought he was a better than 130 rated horse. So with Brian Hughes on board, I thought Tax Me If You Can. The fact that Keith solely relies, or well, he doesn't solely rely, but the fact that he's put him in ahead of maybe Silver Concord, I thought that might have been a tip in itself.
OK, Rob's going for the jolly. Who are you going for, James?
Yes, I agree. I think it's difficult to look beyond the favourite here. Tax Me If You Can. I think he was rated as high as 89 on the flat. He came off a break to win over course and distance last time, proving he handles the conditions. Brian Hughes, he was booked up at the 5-day stage for this, I saw. The form of his win last time has worked out. I think the second went on to win the EBF final at Sandown. So, you know, that with the 4-year-old allowance he gets here, that gives him a good chance.
Excellent. Everyone's agreeing with each other. Do you agree, Keels?
No.
OK.
The thing about it, he beat Sam's Gunner last time. Now, Sam's Gunner obviously went on to win the EBF final at Sandown, and he won quite well. But when Tax Me If You Can beat Sam's Gunner, he won by 2 1/4 lengths, and he was getting £9. And Sam's Gunner was rated 1, 2, 3 now. So Tax Me If You Can going up to 130 has almost been rated on what Sam's Gunner's done since. And there's just a worry that he's a 4-year-old going into an all-age handicap. Now, I just had a look at some stats. 4-year-olds in all-age handicap in the first half of the year have one of the lowest strike rates, going about 7.5%. But on heavy ground, you've got to remember these are young horses. On heavy ground, it's even worse. Their strike rate is around about 3.7%. 4 from 108 in the last 10 years. 4-year-olds running first half of the year, heavy ground, all-age handicap. So, you want to back him at 130, feel free, but he ain't for me. I'm going to be taking a chance on Monfas. I think he's just been running very, very solid races time after time. He was favourite last time, and I don't think he ran a bad race at all, only beaten 2.5 lengths by final choice. He's better off in the race with a couple that have beaten him earlier in the season, Reverend Crust and Mersal, and I think he'll run well at an each way price, about 10 to 1.
Got to admit, that was a decent stat from Kills there, wasn't it, Jimmy?
It was, yeah.
Bit scary if you're thinking of backing the jolly there. Well done, Kills. 3 o'clock, the Liz Adam Memorial Handicap Chase. Rob, the betting is?
Right, we're 7-2 favourite Bay Wing, 4-1 Yala Enki and Wild West Wind, 7's Chick Name, 9's Lake View Lad and 10's Bar.
OK, some good old sloggers in action here. Kills, you go first.
Yeah, I think the last horse to win the Ida Chase and then win next time out was Comply or Die, who won the National. They just don't do it very often, and a lot of them get well beat. Bay Wing is up £9. Obviously, Comply or Die was unpenalised for the National, and I just don't think he's that good a horse. So to be 4-1 for this, can't really have him. Yala Enki, another one, second favourite. Obviously won very well in the Grand National Trial, beating Black Lion and ran well at Cheltenham. But he's having hard race after hard race, and sooner or later he's going to catch up with him. Wild West Wind's form figures are FRU since he won first time out this season. So I'm going to go right down the outside. There's an old boy in here, mate. Harry the Viking, 13 years old. Won the Borders National a couple of seasons ago at Kelso. Has been second in this race before. Goes really well for Rachel McDonald. It might be 13, but 10 stone 1. Almost always runs well here. Got to be worth an each way bet.
Paul Keeley and his old horses theory again. James, who wins this?
I'm going to go for a horse much younger, Chick Name, who's been running some decent races this season. Finished 5th in the cross country at the festival last time. He'll handle the ground as well as any, and he's definitely a horse who stays and jumps well. He was good over hurdles too. I think his mark over hurdles was actually £5 higher, and he's got James Byrne taking £3 off here. So.
Who's only 2 years older than the horse Kills has tipped.
Yeah, yes, I know. Unbelievably young. So yeah, no, he could go well each way.
OK, Chick Name for James. Kills has gone for good old Harry the Viking. Rob, who's your fancy?
Yeah, I'd narrowed it down to Yala Enki and Wild West Wind, and I suppose when you look back to that Haydock Grand National Trial, it looked as though Wild West Wind was going to probably win quite easy 3 out, and then he hit the wall, and that to me suggests that he probably doesn't see out 3 miles 2 on this ground. So Yala Enki, he was the only horse to finish that day at Haydock. He ran well on the Tuesday at Cheltenham in probably a race that was maybe he wasn't good enough for, and he's got course and distance winning form. It won't be easy off top weight, but Venetia's had a couple of winners in the last 10 days, so I thought Yala Enki would have plenty in his favour.
OK, if you want competitive racing and really good betting action, this Kelso card's decent. The TV races have all got, big price favs, and they're very competitive. So let's press on with the 3:35, the Edinburgh Gin Handicap Hurdle, and once again, fairly open, Rob.
Absolutely. 7-2 Donna's Diamond. We're 11-2 Western Rules. It's 6's Eminent Poet, 7's Chris Spin, 15-2 last but not least, and 8's Bar.
And James, you can go first.
Oh, I think Donna's Diamond's a class act here. And he's looked a different horse this season. He won the Rendlesham at Haydock, beating some decent horses. He was then supplemented for the Stayers Hurdle. Didn't disgrace himself there. I mean, he was just simply outclassed. One of the reasons for his improvement seems to be his relationship with Callum Bewley. They seem to have struck up a really good relationship. And he's taking his £3 off this time, which he hasn't been able to do the last couple of starts. So that's definitely in his favour. Form stands out for me, recent form.
And of course, they finished in such a heap in this day. He was actually only beaten about 14 and 15 lengths.
Wasn't beaten far
bad,
at all.
is it?
No, I mean,
it's good enough to finish second normally.
Far.
You're going for the jolly. Who are you going for, Kills?
Yeah, I like last but not least. I certainly do respect Donna's Diamond. He is the class act in the race. But last but not least is very, very lightly raced. Won by an absolute mile at Haydock over fences 2 starts ago. But it was that day in December when it was absolutely bottomless, about as bad as Haydock has ever been. And it was absolutely knackered. She was absolutely knackered going past the line, even though she won 36 lengths. And I was a bit surprising that that Donald McCain ran her just 3 weeks later at Leicester, and she never went a yard. I don't believe that film at all. She's won 5 of her 8 starts, coming back over hurdles. She's unbeaten in 3 over hurdles. Beat Happy Diva fairly well last year. Happy Diva's quite a progressive tracer this year. That was 3 mile and a half a furlong at Doncaster, so she see the trip out fine, and I think she'll go well.
Okay, last but not least for Kills, and last but not least, Rob, who do you like?
Yeah, pretty much echo everything Paul said. I thought certainly at the price she was value, and then when you look at her form, 3 from 3 over hurdles, and her last win was in listed company, and that day at Haydock she really revelled in conditions that she's probably going to get tomorrow. So yeah, last but not least again for me.
Righty-ho, well done to Chris from Gateshead, who won our £25 free bet from Paddy Power in the competition that Maddie did last Monday. Tune in to Monday's Postcast for another chance to win a free £25 bet from Paddy Power.
Success ain't earned, it's bought. That's why at Paddy Power, we paid the big bucks for the best tech nerds in the world to develop our new, fastest ever app. Download the new app from the App Store or Play Store now. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
I can reveal that the front page of the Racing Post tomorrow will say Special K, because we've got Kelso and we've also got Kempton on the box. 3 races, starting with the 205, the Betfred Mobile Handicap. Rob, take it away with a show of betting.
Right, so we're 5-2 about a moment of madness. 9-2 Tomaley, 6s Campus Scooby, 13-2 from 8s Jumeirah Bridge, 13-2 also Evergate and 9s Bar.
Kills, you've had a moment of madness or two in your punting career. Will you be back in the fanfare?
I've had several. No, not really. I mean, he was well supported last time at Lingfield, but I don't think he had any excuses against Tomaley. You know, he might have missed a kick a little bit, but Tomaley looked completely outpaced at the back and still went past him at the end, and they didn't go that fast up front. Obviously, moment of madness. I think he's unbeaten in 2 at Kempton, so it's got a shot. But I mean, the one I like at the prices is Evergate for Robert Cowell. He's had him a couple of seasons now, and it's taken a while to get his act together, but he was getting it together last year. He's been second twice on 2 starts on the all-weather, and his best piece of form last year came at Ascot, which is what some people call green polytrack because it's sand-based, and I think as a son of it, Exceed and Excel, he's going to like it round here. He's got Tom Marcandon. He's having his first ride for the yard this year. Tom Marcandon was 4 from 7 for Robert Cowell last year. I just think a double-figure price looks good to me.
Make a good case. James, what do you reckon?
I like another Robert Cowell horse, Jumeirah Bridge. He's going to be having his first run for the trainer. Talented sprinter. He had some good form as a juvenile. He's proven in the past that he goes well fresh. And it's interesting that Jim Crowley's been jocked up. I mean, Robert Cowell's horses are running much better now. They weren't always in form last season, but this year they've really started to hit form. I think he's had 7 winners in the last 2 months from not very many runners. And I'd be very interested to see if he can get some more improvement out of Jumeirah Bridge. OK, Rob Catson, who's your fancy?
Yeah, I found it very hard to split Tomaley in a moment of madness, and then when you look at the prices, obviously Tomaley's a much bigger price, and simply because of that, I just think Tomaley could confirm the form. A moment of madness is £5 better off, but 9-2 compared to 5-2. I agreed with Keels. Tomaley probably has to beat him again.
OK, let's look at the 240. The Betfred supports Jack Berry House Handicap, and if there is a bucket collection at Kempton, do please give generously, because Jack Berry House is an absolutely fantastic facility up there. And we've got an absolutely fantastic favourite, one that Keels will no doubt be very keen on, the 10-year-old Tropics. What price is he now, Rob?
2-1 favourite is Tropics. Boundsy is a 4-1 chance. It's then 5's Mazzini. We've seen support for Ravens Lady. That's now 13-2. 7's Raucous and 10's Bar.
And we'll stick with you for the winner, Rob.
Yeah, I went for Boundsy. Pretty consistent. I thought the 6 furlongs around Kempton would be ideal. As I said, very consistent. I think he's only been out of the frame once in his last 7 starts, and at a 4-1 compared to Tropics, I thought he was definitely value.
Jimmy?
I like an outsider here, Piper's Note. Good form, goes well fresh, and got some good course form too. Roof Car doesn't usually send that many runners down south, so it's interesting that he's running here. And good jockey booking. Barry McHugh, I think he's got a 38% strike rate for the trainer in the last 5 seasons, so he could go well at a price.
16-1 outsider, right. Keels, who's your fancy?
Yeah, I like another outsider as well. In fact, the horse I backed at Good Friday at Lingfield in the Apprentice Handicap last week. Swift Approval. That was 7 furlongs. He probably made the run and going a bit too fast, but he was still second entering the last 100 yards, and it was he's got beaten 2 1/4 lengths in the end in 6. But I thought he ran really well there, and that was a really competitive race. The last time he ran at Kempton, it was again over 7 furlong. He made all the run and got collared inside the last furlong again by Star Quality, who is now £9 higher, having run well in listed company. Swift Approval was 3-1 favourite that day. I think dropping down to 6 furlongs and with stall 1, which is obviously very important on the bend at Kempton. He's got to have a chance. He races very keenly over 7. His form over 6 isn't quite so good yet, but he was only beaten 3 lengths by Lancelot Delac a couple of starts ago. I think he's got a shot of being in the frame at the very least.
Did you go to Lingfield?
I did, mate. Yeah.
How was it? Chucked it down.
Absolutely horrible. It chucked it down.
Normally it's really nice, isn't it? It's a beautiful day.
I mean,
normally it's the first all-weather championships I've missed. But
last year it was shirt sleeves all the way, wasn't it? This year, I mean, he just had to hide from the rain all day long.
Oh,
cold as well.
Did you go, James?
I didn't get a Lingfield.
Yeah, it looked miserable. What a shame, because it's their big day of the year, isn't it? Get a huge crowd, and I should think.
It's a shame.
Yeah, what a shame. But it's still, I mean, it's established itself, hasn't it, Kills?
If people can make up their mind what time of year Jesus died, we might have had it a couple of weeks later, mightn't we?
Well, I mean, this is one of the reasons why we've got this very odd Saturday, of course, isn't it? Because we don't normally get a 4-week gap between Cheltenham and Aintree, and so the some of the lesser tracks have ridden to the rescue, and they've put on some good stuff, and that includes the 3:15 at Kempton, which is the Betfred home of Goals Galore Snowdrop Filly Stakes. It's a listed race, so this is your injection of quality, and it's competitive, Rob.
It is. It's the best race of the day. So we're 5-2 Smart Call, 7-2 La Figlia. We're 9-2 Shenanigans. 6s from 7s then about Hunena, and it's 12s bar.
Keels, have you sussed this one?
Well, I'm not really one for betting favourites, but when you've got a horse that's rated 110 and the next best is rated 101, and it's level weights, and she's 5-2. I mean, she's nearer 5-4 on form. Smart Call. Some of her form last year was very, very good, including Ascot as well. She's almost certainly going to go on the track. She was where was she? She was 4th to Kemar in the Duke of Cambridge Stakes at Royal Ascot. She ran in Group 1s after that. In Group 2, she was 7th to Highland Real in the Hong Kong Vars in December. She's been running in much better company than this lot, and I can understand that La Figlia's got the improvement to come, having only run twice. But even so, I mean, this is a 5-4 even money shot of 5-2. Do
you ever worry about a Stouty first time out or not?
You can do, but I mean, in terms of pure class, I mean, she's got these.
Okay, Rob, do you agree with Kills, or are you going to look elsewhere for the winner?
Sort of a little bit about on what Kale said. Like when you look at her form, her last 8 runs have been in either a Group 1 or a Group 2. Like, she's taken a massive step down in class here, and I'd say the 5-2 probably won't be there come the end of the day. I just thought, from a value perspective, I thought Hughesy's horse had a good chance. Paco's Angel. I thought she was unlucky in the Sandringham last season when she was 3rd. She was hampered quite a bit on that occasion. She's since come out and finished 5th, and I just think the fact that they've kept her in training as the 4-year-old, I thought she was value at 12s, and Hughesy's horse is running well. 7 of the last 8 have either won or been placed. So at 12's Paco's Angel, but the more you look at Smart Call's form, the more the 5-2 looks good.
5-2 look good to you, James?
Yeah, I prefer La Figlia personally. I think she's still got to prove that she's up to this sort of class, but she's very lightly raced, regally bred. I mean, she's a daughter of Frank Ladd of a 1,000 guineas mare. And she's also a lock-in gentry, so they're obviously thinking that she's going to run really well in future. Could be a group horse. Her run last time at Newmarket last season, she was placed, finishing really strongly behind 107 rated filly in Mufrihar. So, if she would repeat that, she certainly wouldn't be far away. And she was, like I said, she was finishing as well as any that day.
OK, jolly good. That's the TV stuff. We'll get the rest of the Saturday best bets in just a mo.
Success ain't earned, it's bought. That's why at Paddy Power, we paid the big bucks for the best tech nerds in the world to develop our new fastest ever app. Download the new app from the App Store or Play Store now. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Welcome back, Bruce Millington, James Hill, Paul Keeley and Paddy Power's Rob Catson looking at Saturday's racing. We've done the TV stuff. I notice elsewhere, Kills, you obviously us to a big distance buyers. Uttoxeter and Fontwell on Fakenham on heavy ground. I mean, I'm not going to be able to resist that.
Fakenham, mate. Have another look. Good good in back straight.
Drying out there.
I don't care. I always buy it Fakenham. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you Togster when it's heavy. I'll be getting involved in the distances. What else should we be getting involved in? Don't give your nap away, chaps, yet, but anything else you like, James Hill?
There is one I like at Fakenham in the 2:15, horse called Dinsdale, coming off a break, but the handicapper seems to have given him a real chance. Dropped him £5 for his last run. He hasn't actually had that bad a season yet. He's £10 lower than last term. The fact that ground's drying out is in his favour, and he's coming off a wind up as well. So very interested to see how he goes. And also another one at Utoxeter. Ground's likely to be very soft there, but Warsand will handle it in the 3:40. He's a class act. Very good hurdle form, far better than any of these. And he has some good chase form from earlier in the season, particularly at Cheltenham on Trials Day when he was fourth. That form was working out really well. And
James, we've had a couple of months now of the old W's on the card. How much credence or how much strength do you give to when a horse has had a wind up? Do you sort of take an interest, your ears prick up? Or
I mean, I think the jury's still out really on what we've seen so far. I mean, it is of interest. Certainly, whenever a horse wears a tongue tie, I'm interested, and that's to do with a horse's breathing. So, it's certainly we've known.
It's never a negative, put it that way.
You wouldn't call it a negative at all, definitely not. But it's probably not as exciting as people were hoping it would be.
Okay, away from the glare of the ITV4 cameras, Kills, what else have you got for us?
Yeah, just a couple of Fakenham. It's an interesting little novice hurdle. Featuring one of the horses I backed at Cheltenham anti-post in the Fred Winter, Act of Valour. Now he travelled really powerfully in that race and just didn't get home in the mud. He's a flat horse who wants better ground, and it's quite interesting. He's quite well favoured by the weights. I think there's a couple in there. Pacific de Bourne, Nicky Henderson's, who won very easily in a very bad race at 4-11 last time, and Oystric Lenoir, who everybody saw make a mistake at the last at Newbury a couple of weeks ago, and thought he should have won. I just didn't think he found anything after the last. I know he made a mistake and he might have won, but he wouldn't have won by far, and wouldn't surprise me if Act of Valour is better than both of those two, and he is getting plenty of weight, and hopefully the market will focus on the other two that I've mentioned.
That's the 325.
325, yeah, and in the 4 o'clock, Le Broy, another one I backed to Cheltenham last time, and there's another one who doesn't really want the ground as bottom as it was. Le Broy for Ben Paulin, dropping in class, top weight in a handicap, better ground, 2.5 mile, absolutely perfect for him. I can't believe he's not better than that field.
Now, Rob, you must be driving around in a submarine over in Ireland, because they never call racing off for bad weather anymore. I mean, basically, they've redefined the term unraceable in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's been quite enough week. The only horse that maybe caught my eye in the opening race at Kempton, the Novice Stakes. I'd heard one or two whispers a couple of weeks ago about a newcomer of Richard Hannon's called Dixieland. Obviously we've no form to go on, but Richard's horses are going well. I think he's had 7 or 8 winners in the last 2 weeks. Looks a fairly mediocre Novice Stakes, and any support for Dixieland in that first at Kempton would be noted.
Okay, let's get the naps.
This will not be beaten.
I don't know if you watched the Masters postcast that we did, but Steve did a live rendition of This Will Not Be Beaten. And
it's hilarious.
Do try and check that out. I think it's on Twitter. He gets very into it in the second verse. James, what's your nap?
My nap is Donna's Diamond in a 3:35 at Kelso.
Paul Keeley, what's your nap?
Yeah, I will go Evergate, 205 Kempton.
And Rob Catterson, what's yours?
225 at Kelso, tax me if you can.
Okay, has anyone sussed anything for Sunday? There's Devon and Exeter and Carlisle. James?
Yeah, I got one at Carlisle, which is Knockhouse in the 4:30. Oh, he's laughing.
Bit of thunderstorm. That's either he thinks that's a really crap tip or you've stolen his thunder.
Yeah,
Which one is it, Kills?
Probably the former.
No, it's a bit of thunder stealing, but go on, James.
Yeah,
you give him that one, I'll find another one.
Okay, oh, right. Yeah, well, interesting because Brian Hughes was dropped up earlier in the week, so interesting booking on chase form, and he'd have a real chance here, and he'll like the ground, so stay as well. I think he's got a good chance.
Knockhouse up at Carlisle. Kills, you like Knockhouse as well,
yeah,
so you're
I
endorsing that.
Same reasons. I've got one at Exeter 235. I See You Well, trained by Seamus Mullins. His horses are going really well. He's had 2 winners, 3 seconds, and a third from his last 9 runners. I See You Well started the season rated off 130. He's dropped £10 to 120, which he won off this time. Well, he won off last spring under Danny Sansom, who's back on board for the first time since. I think that has to go well.
And I'm always nagging everyone to say the times of races. So if you want to back Knockhouse on Sunday, that's the 4:30 at Carlisle. Rob, anything for us on Sunday?
Yeah, Exeter, I think it could be a good day for Colin Tizard. Silverhow, I was impressed with him when he won two runs ago. He was beaten at Sandown since, but I thought the 310 would be worth another chance for him. So Silverhow and the 310 at Exeter.
OK, two absolutely massive events, one ongoing, one coming up. US Masters first. James, I believe you've got a nice little position here, haven't you, going into round 2?
Yes. Now, I've backed this... I keep forgetting how to pronounce his last name. It's Fuzane, is it? Tony Fuzane?
Fuzane?
Finau.
Finau,
sorry. Right.
Well, so with your golf knowledge,
my golf knowledge isn't that great. But I managed to back him. And if I just wish I'd done it after he'd dislocated his ankle, because goodness knows what price I would have got then. I got 130 to 1. So
well, you can't complain, can you? He's going very well after round 1. It was weird. It was like an action man, the way he just put his foot back in, wasn't it? Yeah. Very odd. Kills, how are you looking?
Yeah, interesting. I was trying to get the proper leaderboard up, and I've got some absolute nonsense on here with. I've got.
What are you trying to tell us? Are you having a long look down to find your best hope, or have you got one for us?
No. Well, I get the scattergun out, don't I? So I've got a couple up there. Hadwin and Patrick Reed. Obviously, the main one, Bubba, wasn't so good.
Early days. Yeah. Rob, what have you got for us for the Masters? Who's going to win it?
Well, I think probably who's going to win it is fairly easy, given what he did in 2015. You just hope that he sort of comes back to the field and we have a good weekend, because we don't want to see what happened in 2015. I'm on Matsuyama, who he was a little bit frustrating yesterday. He'd 16 pars, a double bogey and a birdie, but at 1 over, I was happy enough until Spieth did his thing. And I'm on Mickelson, who had a pretty good day as well. Okay. He's 2 under par, but you just want Spieth maybe to go level par 1 under today and let the others come into it.
At least none of you back Garcia. 13, incredible. Right then, next Saturday, obviously, we'll be having another good look at that in next Friday's Postcast. And we will also, on Monday, be looking ahead to the first couple of days of the entry meeting. But, lads, let's have some early thoughts on who's going to win the Nash. James?
The horse I've backed is Alpha Desobo. If you look at his form, certainly from last season, I think he was 4th in the RSA. That's worked out really well, not just from the winner Might Bite, but you also had Whisper running well on the Ladbrokes Trophy. Bells Hill, of course, ran such a great race in the Irish National. I was very surprised he didn't win it in the end. He has had issues with bleeding, so that's the downside. But if they can get that sorted out, if you go back to his hurdle form, of course, he was a horse who chased home Thistlecrack in the Stayers Hurdle. They were miles clear of anything else. So he's still quite a big price. I still think you can get about 50 to 1 about him. Okay. And I think he's a forgotten horse in the race.
Alpha Desobo, eh? Right. I'll give you a quick blast. 10 to 1 total recall, 11 Annabelle Fly. This is obviously Paddy Power. I'm doing your job here, Rob. 12 Blackline, 12 Tiger Roll, 14 Milan Rocco, 14 The Last Samurai, 14 Bells Hill, 16 Rathvinnen, 16 See You at Midnight, 20 Gold Present, 20 Vicente, 20 Uccello Conti, 25 Bar. Have we mentioned the winner yet, Kills?
Well, I hope not. I backed a horse called I Just Know at 150s in December or January. Can't remember when it was. It's now about 33s, I think. Sue Smith's 8-year-old. I know they say national form is quite interesting. In the other nationals, I don't think they included the North Yorkshire Grand National, which is the one he won at Catterick. But he won it by an absolute mile, and his jumping was just fantastic. Obviously, that was good enough to get him up in a handicap, and he'll get in he gets in off a low weight. And Sue Smith ran him over hurdles last time. There was no need to protect the mark. I think it was just a case of having a gallop, and he ran his best hurdle. But even though he got beaten as favourite, he still ran his best hurdles race ever by a country mile. And I think he's progressive. He's an 8-year-old now. You always told you look out for these older horses, but it's changing now the way they've changed the fences. I think 3 of the last 6 winners were 8-year-olds, and then in the last 3 years alone, I think 8 8-year-olds have finished in the first 6. So, it's going to be, it's going to, we're going to have some stats getting bust at some point. There's another horse in the race called Bay d'Azil, trained by Ross O'Sullivan. Now, I tipped his horse in the Irish Grand National the other day, finished 7th. This horse ran in the Irish Grand National as a 5-year-old and finished 6th. And he's also run in a Welsh National and finished 5th. So the fact that he's 7 is completely irrelevant. Jumps really, really well. And likes soft ground, and we'll have Katie Walsh on. So I'd imagine a woman riding a 7-year-old winner of the Grand National won't be on many people's lists, but I think Bay d'Azil's got a fair shot at a price.
So your 2 horses are, Kills?
Yeah, Bay d'Azil and I Just Know.
Good stuff. Who's your early one, Rob?
Yeah, I have 2, and I've Bay the Seals as well. As Paulo know, he was she was third to False and Blue and I Love Hope and Dreams in the Punchestown National Trial. Of course, they came out in frank to form in the Irish National, and it appears as though it's going to be on the soft side at Aintree next weekend. So that'll be right up his street. And as Paul said, like, it's a 40-1 chance. You'll have so many people backing this horse, literally because Katie's on board, and obviously trained by her husband Ross. And the top weight, an 8-year-old Manila Rocco. He's had the look of a national winner for a couple of seasons. Skipping Cheltenham could be a blessing in disguise. First time running since a wind up, and plenty of horses have lumped big weights in a national and run well. So I thought he'd be the best of JP's.
Thank you, chaps. Weekend plans, James. What you got on?
I'm here in the office.
Both days?
Both days, yep. Try and watch as much of the golf as I can.
Yeah, that'll be good. Keels, what have you got?
I have absolutely no idea. I'm just going to check the rotor because every now and again I find out that I've been working.
I don't know whether you're working or not.
No, look day to day, mate. I think I'm off, but I'm going to check now and I'll let you know. What day is it tomorrow?
Saturday.
Ever the professional, eh?
Absolutely, mate. So you've obviously not made any plans then? You haven't got Kirsty driving you mad to do anything?
No. See, I've already gone to Grand National Week already.
Oh, okay. Well, while Keels works out whether he's working or not, Rob, what have you got on? I bet you're working. You always work weekends, don't you?
I do, yeah. It's a good way to watch the sport, but I'll be watching golf and probably talking more golf than racing week this weekend, but it's not a bad complaint.
Yeah, we just don't want Jordan Spieth running away with it. We need it to be competitive.
Yeah.
All right, Keels.
Yeah, I am off. I'm live tipster on Sunday, though.
Live
disappointing,
tipster.
but there you go.
What's disappointing about that?
Oh, I like to have a Sunday off, go down the club and play cards.
You're meant to give the impression that working at the Racing Post is a pleasure, mate.
Mate, I'll be up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I'll have every single race done by midday. Don't you worry about that.
Fantastic. Well done, chaps. Thank you very much indeed. Like I say, we're back on Monday, looking ahead to the first 2 days of the Aintree Festival, and join us next Friday when we will get stuck into the Grand National 2018. And don't forget, if you do enjoy the shows, please do go on to iTunes, rate, review and subscribe.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Simply place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week, and you'll get a free £10 bet the next week. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.